What's going on, y'all? It's an episode of Let Wayne Explain. Come on in. The water's just fine. You know what? Can we just have a talk real quick? Can we just fellowship? Just fellowship. Just since it's just us, right? It's just us. Let's just talk football. And I just want to know what y'all think about everything, man. How was y'all football weekend? Y'all do good? Your team win? Huh? Y'all cover the spread? Y'all hit on any parlays, bet slips? You know what I mean? How was y'all weekend, man? I just want to take this time out just to hang out with y'all, man, because I want to talk about some of y'all's football team, because the Carolina Panthers, that's still my squad though. That's still my squad. That's for better or worse. That's the team, man. But something that I did see that surprised me, when it just because you're doing bad don't necessarily mean is over. Like, just you can have the right people in your life, but in a rough time of your life, just because you're in a rough season, don't necessarily mean that the people in that season need to be cut off, chastised, and ridiculed. That is not what that means. And I say that to say this, because the New York Giants fired their coach today. They fired him. One Brian Daboll. Yeah, I know. Shocked the hell out of me too. But I'm just trying to figure out why. And in what world did that make sense? So you mean to tell me they got rid of a Saquon Barkley who they wanted to keep? They was bad last year. And then fast forward this year, they got a rookie quarterback and they got a superstar wide receiver. And they got Brian Scatterbo. The Scat Pack, yeah. And Cam Scatterbo. Yeah, I don't know why I'm Brian Daboll. Yeah. So, and they was having an all right season. I would go on the limb and say they were kind of overachieving a little bit. But then they lost their Scat Pack. They lost him. And then they lost Malik Neighbors. And I'm just trying to figure out, what do you expect Coach Daboll to do? What do you expect him to do? Like, what were your expectations going into the season? Because let's be honest, surely y'all didn't think y'all was going to a Super Bowl. You didn't think that, did you? You couldn't have thought that. You didn't think you was going to win the division, did you? Not when the reigning Super Bowl champs in your division. Not with the Cowboys, how explosive their offense is. So, I mean, at best, you was going to be what? Third in the division? And that was just at best. And it looks like you on track to be third in the division because, the Commanders kind of got their own situation going on. But I'm just talking about, if you fire Daboll, who are you replacing him with? Who are you going to get that's better than Daboll? And I'm not saying Daboll's some all-time coach. I'm not saying he's Jimmy Johnson or Vince Lombardi or somebody like that, Bill Belichick. I'm not saying he's none of that. But hell, he ain't the worst either. I'm not saying you can do a lot worse than him. He ain't a Matt Rule. You know what I mean? He ain't nobody like that. So I'm just trying to figure out, be careful we're at a time we're firing these coaches. We got to exercise some patience with firing these coaches. Everybody quick to fire their coach, but I don't know if you can necessarily replace them. All these coaches ain't as quick to get replaced as you think. Like, it's not as easy as you think finding the elite coaches. It's a reason why the elite coaches are not around, because they hold on to them. This is why you've never seen a Mike Tomlin get fired. This is why Ron Rivera, when he does get fired, which we really never should have got rid of him. This is why that's why they're not out there on the market long. That's why. Because when you got a good coach, you hold on to it. And if you keep recycling coaches, it just kind of shows that the man above him ain't as functional as what you like to be. It speaks to dysfunction in the franchise and in the front office. So if you can't find you a stable head coach, I start looking at the front office than I do the coach. And with the Giants, I have no choice but to look at the front office. I have no choice, because, I'm sorry, it just reeks of ineptitude. It just reeks like you don't got your act together. You don't got your act together. And I know they are trying, or I think they're trying, but this is not the way. If anything, you should have been getting rid of the general manager. That's who you should have been getting rid of. But that's not what you did. So I just don't figure out when in a real world where Mike McDaniel still has a job, and I know they looked good yesterday against the Bills, how do you get? I mean, because Brian Daboll got wins like that too. He had a little vibe out there going like the team liked him. I mean, I'm not in the locker room, but I'm gonna go on limb and say it seemed like it was all good. But you just never know because I'm just some dude with a podcast. What do I know? But what I do know is if you keep going through coaches, you're not gonna have no sense of stability. What I do know is it's not gonna be the easiest thing finding somebody better than Brian Daboll. You're not gonna. That's not the easiest thing to do. So I don't know what they got going on. I hope they figure it out. Because Daboll, and I don't think he's gonna be free for too long. I think by this offseason, and I tell you what, I would go to college. Yep. That's what I would do. All this whole fire and wholesale they've been doing in college, I would find me one of them jobs quick, fast, in a hurry. And I think the best job is probably Penn State, to be honest with you. The best job going is probably Penn State, if we being honest about it. Because Florida and LSU, them schools will be cool, but I think their expectations are a little unrealistic. Because they talk about themselves like they're perennial title contenders every year, and they're not. Florida ain't won one since what? 2007? And I know LSU got the one in 2019, but hey, that's getting farther and farther away, baby. That's getting farther and farther away. We talking about what? 6 years? We talking about 6 years. So I just don't think, and in the SEC with as loaded as it is, I mean, you doing good to get to the SEC championship. And you talking about championship, so I feel like their expectations can be a little unrealistic. That's why I would go to a Penn State where the Big Ten, you probably going to have an easier schedule. You know what I mean? Your road to the national championship is going to be a little easier, and you got better luck with it. And you used to playing in the cold, so because the whole New York thing. So I think that would be a good spot for Brian Daboll. If he wanted to go to college. And they probably going to throw a bunch of money at you. So I don't know what his recruiting game look like, and I don't even know if that's even a thought, or if something else may happen around the NFL and he might stay in the pros. I don't know. But if it was me, I would go to Penn State. I think that would be the best job. I wouldn't worry about LSU. I wouldn't worry about Florida. And those probably are cooler jobs, but I don't know if it's a better job. You understand what I'm saying? There's a difference between, don't confuse cool with better. Like it might be cool to talk to the baddies, and the IG model, the girl that I'm talking about a bona fide brick house. But you're probably better off talking to the 5 or 6, the one that's gonna cook for you, the one that's gonna clean for you. You want to rub your shoulders. That's the one, the one you want to hold on to, the one where she look good. I ain't saying get some booger wolf or something like that. I ain't saying do that. But the one that's not IG bad, but the one where the real beauty is in her heart. And I think that's the Penn State job. I think that's the Penn State job. Don't go for the one that everybody's slobbing after, the one that everybody looking at, because their expectations ain't going to be where it need to be. That is exactly what LSU and Florida is. The baddie old IG model that everybody look at to get all the likes, all the comments, but it's hard to stay with them. And as a result, that's why they going through coaches every, 4 years. Because once somebody get in there, they realize, oh, man, it's some bull job. That's kind of what it is. But, hey, anyway. But moving on to this other thing. Can we go ahead and say Matt Stafford's the MVP? Can we do that? Can we just go ahead and I know we got a lot of season left. We damn near got half the season left. But I haven't seen enough. Matt Stafford is the MVP of the NFL this year. In the past 6 games, this brother done threw for over 1,600 yards, 20 touchdowns, no picks. Made an absolute mess out of the 49ers yesterday and hit them in the head with 4 tubs. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that'll work. Like, I think it's time to have a conversation about Matt Stafford. I think year in and year out, we talk about all these great quarterbacks. We talk about Patrick Mahomes. We talk about Lamar Jackson. We talk about these up-and-comers. We talk about what's going on with Trevor Lawrence. We talk about the Dak Prescotts. I've been a little guilty of that myself. We talk about all that. We talk about Josh Allen. We talk about all these dudes. But Matt Stafford, he out here hooping. I'm talking about doo-wopping and show-stopping. I mean, the comeback king. We talk about Patty being clutch. Matt Stafford got a bunch of them clutch things too. And he got his team 7-2, so they are winning. Really, I feel like truth be told, they really need to be 7-1, but you know, it is what it is. And the Rams are solid. The Rams have been solid all year. And getting back to Matt Stafford, I think he's been slept on, and I think it's time to put him in the top 10 all-time conversation too. I think it's time for Matt Stafford to be entered in that conversation of top 10 all time. Because he has the yards. He has the talent. He has the ability. He's got the numbers. Guess what? He has the Super Bowl. He got all that. Like, I'm not saying if you don't want to put him in the top 5 up there, okay, fine. But I think after you get past the Tom Brady's, the Joe Montanas, the Peyton Mannings, I think he's right there. He's right there. We know he's a Hall of Famer. He's right there with the Elways and the Aaron Rodgers. And quiet as kept, deep down, I almost kind of want to put him in there over Aaron Rodgers. I kind of want to put him a little higher, if we're being honest. You put him right there in them Dan Marino. If we're doing the top 10 all time, I would have Tom Brady, Joe Montana, Peyton Manning. Give me John Elway, Dan Marino. Then I would have your Matt Stafford. Then I would have the Aaron Rodgers. I would have that. That's how I would have it. I would have it like that. And I don't think that's an insane take. I don't even think that's a hot take. I just think he's been slept on for far too long. He's been slept on for far too long. And I think it's time we put some respect on Matt Stafford's name. And if he wasn't with the Detroit Lions, I think he would be a lot better than his record. His record would be a lot better than what we make it out to be. But since he's been with the Rams, like a competent franchise, they've been solid. And I know the Lions look better now. But when he was there, I mean, they wasn't all that. And even then, he was having with some comeback. They call him the comeback king, and he's had one of the best arms in the NFL the whole time. I still think it's a top 5 arm. So I just think we need to put some respect on one Matthew Stafford, because that brother been slept on for far too long, and enough is too much. I'm ready to give that brother the MVP right now and put him in the top 10 all time. I'm just ready to do that. I'm ready to do that. And I'll be honest with you. Talking on the Rams, I think they got a real shot at the Super Bowl. They got a real shot like this year. Like in the NFC, it's Green Bay, it's Green Bay, Seattle, and the Rams. Now when the Rams and Seattle play against each other, woo, you want to talk about get your popcorn ready. Get your popcorn ready, because that's gonna be a divisional game. That's gonna be something serious this year. So get your popcorn ready for that. I can't wait to see that. I think it's gonna be some good stuff. But yeah, I can't wait. I just wanted to talk to y'all about some of that. I just want to talk to y'all about that. Oh yeah, and another thing, something else I want to talk to y'all about. Lately, I've been hearing that really the past 2 weeks, as far as college football, getting into it. I've been hearing more Alabama and national title in the same sentence. I've been hearing them two in the same conversation. And I'm here to say, now we're going too far. Now we're going a little too far. Because Alabama, they cannot run the football. I tried to give them a pass early in the year, because they lost Jan Miller. But they got Jan Miller back, and they still can't run the damn football. And we know how college is. College is not the NFL. I know quarterback is the most important quarterback. We love quarterback. We love that. And quarterback is important. But college football, you got to run that football. I'm talking about power running. Moving a man against a wheel. How much penetration can you get on the inside? That's what's important in college football. Gone are the days of Mark Ingram, Trent Richardson. Gone are the days of Eddie Lacy. Gone are the days of Derrick Henry. Even TJ Yeldon. Them days is over with. And because I know the philosophy's different, the culture's different, the mindset's different. It's just a different brand of football out there. And I don't know if you can win a national championship, especially coming out the SEC, as physical and tough as it is, just ask your quarterback to just drop back and just throw 45, 50 times. I just don't think that's a conducive way of winning the title because you need toughness. Toughness is a very important thing to have. You need that. You need that in the NFL. I mean, in college. And especially coming out the SEC, you need that. So I just think we just need to pump the brakes and slow down when it comes to talking about Alabama and national championship aspirations. I'm not saying Alabama's bad. I'm not saying they're bad. They are a good football team. But it's not like Georgia, because Georgia, they're starting to get in the realm. They're kind of masquerading into something they're not. Georgia, if you're not careful, you would think they still think it's 2020 or 2021 or something like that. That is not the Georgia team, not this year. So, but Alabama, they are good. I just don't think they're on the level with like a Ohio State or an Indiana or Texas A&M or dare I say the Texas Longhorns. Yes, I said it. So, because Ty Simpson's not, and unless you just got a quarterback that can just change life for you. And then, yeah, it's a different conversation, but I think we can all agree that Ty Simpson is not that. I mean, at minimum, he would be a lock for the Heisman if he was that, at minimum. And he's not. A lot of them trying to give it to Fernando Mendoza, especially after that clutch performance he pulled out against Penn State. That'll work. And you need wins like that on your schedule. Every win's not going to be a 50-point win or a 60-point win. You need some tough, get them ugly wins. You need something like that because when your team's tested, you want to see what they're made out of. Because that's not realistic, especially not in today's culture with transfer portal and all this stuff and your coach getting fired every 30 minutes if you ain't undefeated. You need to see if you can kind of gush out a tough one, get you win you a couple dog fights. It shows that you got a level of toughness. And I'm not saying Alabama's tough. I'm not saying they're a pushover. Again, I'm just not saying, I think they're in that tier 2 when it comes to championship teams. And I think they have something to be desired. Mainly in that running game and the run protection. For y'all to have a top 10 prospect, offensive tackle in Caden Proctor, who was built like a goddamn refrigerator. A Kenmore refrigerator at that. For y'all to not be able to run the ball behind his big ass is alarming to me. Alarming. So I think they got some questions that need to be answered. And it's not like we're in week 2. At this point, you pretty much got a good idea of what your football team is, barring any injuries or anything like that. You pretty much know what your football team is. And we know what they're not. And they're not a team that can run the football. And because of that, I don't have Alabama winning the championship. I'm sorry. Don't hate me. I'm just the messenger. I'm just calling it how I see it. And based on what I've seen, they have had issues toting that rock all season long. Maybe it'll be different next year, but as far as this year right here, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Because if you just need to be able, especially when it start getting cold and start getting chilly, you want to be able to run that football. Because it shows when you can establish the run, it shows you can impose your will and show a level of dominance. And I know Alabama's had some convincing wins. I know they've had that. But for you to not be able to just run the football, and Bama used to be known for running the ball. And again, I know it's a new day. I know it's a different culture. I know it's a different standard. I know it's a different mindset. But in college, running the football is so important. And against those big elite teams and some of these tough defenses, I don't know if I don't know if they can do it. And by the way, don't sleep on Oklahoma in that defense either. Do not sleep on Oklahoma. Don't let that record fool you. Remember, Oklahoma beat Alabama last year. So be careful now. I know Alabama's doing good, but you know how life in the SEC is, and anything can happen at any given moment. And they've had some close calls now. They have had that. So we'll see, but until they get that run game right, I think we need to limit our expectations on Alabama. I may be right about that. I might be wrong. I'm going to run up out of here. Something that Alabama can't do. They struggling to run, so they better figure it out. Otherwise, somebody going to pull y'all pants down.